Now, there's a lot of talk lately about cycling the aquarium. Now, in the old days, we used to put live rock in the aquarium, and then various die-off would occur from the live rock that would allow the growth of various good bacteria and so forth. And then when that cycle had finished, meaning there'd been some ammonia, then that had gone down, then there was some nitrite, then that had gone down, then you started to get nitrate, and then we would say that the aquarium is cycled. There's various people now claiming that with dead rock, you don't have to cycle the aquarium. And that's just not true, because there are various ways that you can cycle an aquarium, but basically when an aquarium is cycled, that basically means that there is enough good bacteria to break down the waste from the animals that are currently in there. So basically every time you put new animals in the aquarium, there's a little bit of a mini cycle that occurs for each new addition, but the main concern is the first lot of cycle. So if you have dead rock and you put a little bit of fish in there, they will produce a little bit of waste, and that will allow the growth of a little bit of bacteria. Now, we recommend waiting a full month, and that will stabilize your pathogen life cycles and will stabilize the good bacteria for the waste that's been produced. Then when the ammonia and nitrite come down, you can then say the tank is cycled. Then you can put another small amount of fish in there and wait for another month. During that time, you also may experience a small amount of ammonia, a small amount of nitrite, and that shouldn't be any problem. If you put too much fish in at once and you end up with too much ammonia, too much nitrite, then you can end up with dead fish. So a tank has to be cycled regardless of the rock that you put in it. And other people talk about doing things like throwing a prawn in or throwing ammonia chloride or whatever in, and that's just a complete waste of time. If you're going to dump a whole lot of fish in the next month, maybe it's a good idea to maximize your bacteria. But if you're just going for a normal setup, it's basically a waste of time, because what you're doing is putting a whole lot of waste into the aquarium, then a whole lot of bacteria is going to grow to break that waste down. Then as the food source runs out, that bacteria is going to die off again. And then you're only ever going to have the amount of bacteria for the amount of waste present at the time. So the way I would go about the tank is simple. Add a little bit of fish, wait a month, add a little bit of fish, wait a month, add a little bit of fish, and that is by far the classic and safest way of going about it. Now, the other thing that I would consider when introducing fish is to ensure that you put the right groups in at the same time. Like, for example, any angels you want, you might put them in at the same time. Any tangs you want, put them in at the same time. Any clowns you want, put them in at the same time. That's something that I would consider. The other thing I would consider as well is the salinity when you add the fish. So fish do not handle going up in salinity, but there's no problem going down in salinity, because the salinity of a fish is about half seawater. So you want to run a lower salinity when you introduce your fish, so they're not getting osmotic shock when you put them in. Regardless of how well you acclimatize the fish, I really do not encourage fish going up more than 1 or 2 of your specific gravity at a time per day, regardless of the acclimatization techniques.